Hello viewers, I'm your host Pratiksha Mishra with another episode of South Asia Focus. Let's begin the show. The India-U.S. relationship built on mutual respect and cooperation is entering a pivotal phase as both nations navigate tariff challenges. With the impending implementation of U.S. reciprocal tariffs, India is proactively considering significant tariff reductions on U.S. imports to foster a bilateral trade agreement by fall this year. Experts are optimistic that a comprehensive trade deal could enhance long-term relations despite short-term tariff concerns. A report.
Over the years, India and the US have forged a strong economic partnership. As the global trade landscape evolves, the Indian government is proactively addressing the potential impact of US President Donald Trump's global reciprocal tariffs. An internal analysis by India suggests that the recent US tariffs could affect 87% of its exports to the US, amounting to approximately $66 billion. In response, reports indicate that India is considering reducing tariffs on more than half of US imports, valued at approximately $23 billion.
On trade, we had a very open discussion, and the result of that discussion was that the Prime Minister and the President agreed that we would conclude you rightly said, not a free trade agreement, but a bilateral trade agreement by fall this year. And that is what is currently under discussion.
Despite ongoing negotiations on tariff issues, India has reaffirmed that both nations remain committed to finalizing the trade agreement within the agreed timeline.
The two governments are actively working to build a framework for the BTA, which would aim to expand trade, enhance market access, reduce tariff and non-tariff barriers, and deepen supply chain integration. In this endeavor, as I told you, our Commerce and Industry Minister had visited the United States from 3rd to 7th of March, where he met with US Commerce Secretary as also US Trade Representative. Government of India remains engaged with the US administration.
India-US trade includes key Indian exports such as pharmaceuticals, textiles and IT services, while the US exports aircraft, machinery, oil and agricultural products to India. Experts remain optimistic that despite short-term tariff challenges, a well-negotiated trade deal could significantly strengthen long-term bilateral relations.
We are expecting a trade deal. We are going to have a trade deal with the US, and although there will be a tariff issues, which I believe if we get a trade deal, a good trade deal, then these tariff issues may be a short-term thing, whereas the trade deal may help the India-US relation in the long term, and it will help both the countries. Specifically, India will get much benefit if we get a trade deal.
India remains committed to deepening its economic ties with the US while strategically navigating potential trade challenges. A recent S&P Global Ratings report suggests that Trump's reciprocal tariffs will have a limited impact on India due to its robust economy and relatively low reliance on US trade, with exports making up just over 10% of its GDP. Despite a $45.6 billion US trade deficit with India, WTO data shows that the average US trade-weighted tariff is 2.2% compared to India's 12%. During Prime Minister Narendra Modi's US visit in February, both nations agreed to initiate trade discussions to resolve tariff disputes. As India and the US engage in trade negotiations, experts emphasize the importance of reassessing trade policies in an evolving global economy.
And when we adjust our trade issues with the US, we also have to adjust with other countries. And not only India, other countries will also make certain adjustments. So it's a time for India and rest of the world to rethink on the trade issues. And India is doing a lot of work in this direction.
By remaining adaptable and committed to open dialogue, both India and the United States can forge a resilient trade partnership that benefits their economies and sets a positive example for global trade relations.
The situation in Bangladesh has reached a critical juncture with escalating human rights violations and increasing violence against minorities. Amid political turmoil, a recent event at the UN Human Rights Council highlighted the urgent need for international intervention and accountability. Human rights activists and advocates call for independent investigations into past and present abuses, emphasizing the historical context of discrimination and violence that has plagued the country for decades. A report.
The current situation in Bangladesh is characterized by a complex interplay of political, economic and social challenges, particularly regarding the treatment of minorities and marginalized groups. Recently, a significant side event titled Human Rights Violations and the Rise of Islamic Extremism in Bangladesh was held during the 58th session of the UN Human Rights Council. This event underscored the alarming state of human rights in Bangladesh under the 7th-month rule of Nobel Peace Laureate Dr. Yunus. International journalist and human rights activist drew troubling parallels between the current conditions in Bangladesh and the oppressive environments seen in Iran and Afghanistan following regime changes. They emphasized that millions of lives, especially those of minorities, are at grave risk due to a complete breakdown of law and order and the widespread impunity for human rights abuses. The discussions highlighted concerns about increasing violence against minority communities, suppression of dissent, and the erosion of civil liberties, painting a dire picture of the human rights landscape in the country.
In over a decade that I've been investigating human rights abuses and politics and upheaval in over 40 countries around the world, what I'm seeing in Bangladesh is absolutely terrifying, and having visited the country is even more scary because what's happening in the country isn't being reflected within the international media. It feels like the world is looking away, but this is exactly the time that we should be paying attention, because from where I'm standing, Bangladesh isn't far behind following Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, and many other countries that have gone through big revolutions. Minorities in Bangladesh are under attack, and this is a crucial time for the world to be paying attention.
At the event, the urgent need for international attention and intervention was clear, as advocates called for measures to protect vulnerable populations and restore accountability in governance.
Well, we have all heard enough what's going on in Bangladesh. We have also heard the denials and dismissals from the current government. We have also heard about the UN report. So, taking it all together, I have only 3 calls today. First of all, I would want an independent investigation, impartial investigation into whatever happened in Bangladesh, both past and present. And I would include atrocities, alleged atrocities of the previous government, including the one those have been alleged during the time of the present government. That's my first demand. And the second demand, I would want a full internal inquiry, full internal review of the OHCHR reports, like how it operated, how its findings were reached.
At the event, the historical context of human rights violations in Bangladesh was also prominently addressed, underscoring the long-standing patterns of abuse and discrimination faced by various communities. Speakers highlighted that the roots of the current crisis can be traced back to significant events in the country's history, including the brutalities of the Liberation War in 1971.
Today is the 54th anniversary of Bangladesh's Independence Day. Tonight, 54 years ago, West Pakistani Army, along with their collaborators Al-Badr, Al-Sham, launched the worst possible genocide in the history of the subcontinent and this century, targeting innocent men, women and children indiscriminately and with special vengeance towards the minorities, be it Hindus, Christians, Amitis, member of race, cross-gender, LGBT community. So we have to make sure that Bangladesh cannot fail. We cannot afford to have another genocide which can happen at any point of time in Bangladesh, because after 5th of August, the country is on the boil and it is becoming increasingly difficult and dangerous for all liberal-minded people who believe in the mindset of liberation, who believe in 1971 War of Liberation.
As the world watches, the stakes remain high. The lives and dignity of millions in Bangladesh hang in the balance. It is a crucial moment for Bangladesh, demanding immediate attention and decisive action from the global community to safeguard its future and uphold the principles of human rights for all.
Time now for Asia This Week, the stories from across the continent.
Afghan female athletes who are living outside their homeland have made a global plea for unity and support for gender equality in sports, highlighting their struggle under the current regime. Despite the oppressive circumstances, Afghan female athletes refuse to relinquish their fight. However, with the majority of Afghanistan's female football players now in exile, the potential for rebuilding a thriving sports culture seems distant. To preserve authentic flavors, traditional Japanese restaurants with support from the Ministry of Agriculture open their kitchens to foreign trainees.
限られた時間の中で正しく食材を扱うとか、旬のものをどう見せていくかとか、そういったことを実際に学んでいただけるいい機会だったんじゃないかなと考えています。
The famed Kikunoi restaurant opens its doors to foreign trainees, sharing the art of traditional Japanese cuisine.
料理に関しては見たり手振り身振りで分かることもあるんですけれども、やっぱりそれだけでは伝わらないこと、うまいこと聞けないことがやっぱりあると思うので、翻訳アプリなんかを使ってコミュニケーションをできるだけ取るようにはしています。みんな母国に帰って日本料理、料理に携わっていただきたいと思ってますし、自分の国に受け入れられるものを作っていってもらいたいというふうには思いますね。
Founded 260 years ago, the renowned Uosaburo restaurant preserves its timeless interior and authentic cooking traditions, offering a deep dive into the essence of Japanese cuisine. Owners of traditional Japanese restaurants deeply value the dedication of foreign trainees. The cross-cultural exchange enriches both sides and helps carry authentic Japanese cuisine beyond borders. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un supervised the test of suicide drones with artificial intelligence technology and said, "Unmanned control and AI capability must be the top priorities in modern arms development." Kim also inspected new upgraded reconnaissance drones that are capable of detecting various tactical targets and enemy activities on land and at sea.
Moving on. In Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, the education crisis deepens as government schools falter due to outdated curricula and inefficiencies. Parents are increasingly opting for private institutions lured by promises of better education. However, these private schools have come under fire for exploitative practices, charging inflated fees and mandating overpriced supplies. A report.
In Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, the education sector is grappling with significant challenges. government institutions in the region are burdened by outdated curricula and widespread inefficiencies, prompting an increasing number of parents to turn to private institutions in search of better educational opportunities for their children.
सरकारी तालीमी इदारों की निस्बत लोग प्राइवेट तालीमी इदारों को तरजीह देते हैं। उसकी बुनियादी वजह यह है कि एक जो रियासत जम्मू कश्मीर या पाकिस्तान के अंदर यकसां निसाब तालीम का ना होना है। प्राइवेट तालीमी इदारों के अंदर ऑक्सफोर्ड समेत दीगर जो है वो किताबें भी पढ़ाई जाती हैं, जबकि सरकारी तालीमी इदारों के अंदर एक ही निसाब जो है पढ़ाया जाता है, जिससे लोग जो है और सरकारी इदारों के अंदर चूँकि सिफारिश कल्चर है, उस सिफारिश कल्चर ने सरकारी इदारों को तबाह करके रखा हुआ है।
While private institutions are favored for their better education, they have also come under growing scrutiny for their business practices. Most of these schools are prioritizing profit over the well-being of students, with reports of inflated fees, mandatory purchases of overpriced textbooks and stationery, and a lack of transparency in their operations.
प्राइवेट तालीमी इदारा जो है वो माफिया बन चुका है। माफिया वो इस तरह बन चुका है कि मोस्टली प्राइवेट तालीमी इदारे जो हैं उन्होंने अपनी कापियाँ अपना निसाब स्कूल के अंदर रख के जो 100 रुपये की कापी है वो 200 रुपये में बेचते हैं और बच्चे को और वालिदैन को फोर्स करते हैं कि जाके वो कापी आपने स्कूल के अंदर से लेनी है, यूनिफॉर्म भी स्कूल के अंदर से लेनी है, हर चीज़ स्टेशनरी तक स्कूलों के अंदर रखी हुई है और वो माफिया बन के दोनों हाथों से जो है वो वालिदैन को लूट रहा है।
As the education system in POJK continues to struggle, parents are caught between the decline of government schools and the exploitative practices of private institutions, leaving many questioning the future of their children's education.
India's tourism sector is thriving, drawing visitors year-round from Kashmir's enchanting valleys to Kanyakumari's scenic shores. While Kashmir remains a top attraction, Jammu's hidden gems, Bhadarwa, Patni Top, Natha Top and Sanasar are emerging as breathtaking destinations. Beyond fueling millions of livelihoods, tourism weaves together the cultural and natural essence of every region, making it a cornerstone of India's vibrant identity.
Bhadarwa, often called the mini Kashmir, captivates visitors with its lush meadows, snow-capped peaks and serene landscapes. Renowned for its pleasant weather year-round, the valley offers a true winter wonderland experience, complete with snowfall and thriving winter tourism. Beyond its breathtaking scenery, Bhadarwa is a perfect retreat for those seeking peace and tranquility. While much of the country welcomes summer, this picturesque valley remains draped in snow, drawing travelers eager to embrace its crisp, refreshing air and serene charm.
टूरिस्ट सीजन जो है ऑन है, टूरिस्ट जो है डे बाय डे फिगर जो है बढ़ रहा है, ये एक बहुत अच्छी बात है।
With rising tourism in Bhadarwa, hotels and homestays have grown significantly. Homestays offer a warm, home-like experience with clean rooms, local cuisine and fresh organic meals. Their welcoming atmosphere and scenic views attract many travelers over costly luxury hotels, making homestays a preferred choice.
हम यहाँ ठहरे हैं होम स्टे पे। यहाँ के रूम्स बहुत ही अच्छे हैं और खाना भी बहुत ही अच्छा है। आप जब चाहो यहाँ पर आ सकते हो। यहाँ की अवेलेबिलिटी बहुत ही अच्छी है, स्टाफ भी बहुत ही अच्छा है और आपको फूड भी बहुत ही हाइजीन मिलेगा।
लोग जो है बड़े बड़े अच्छे लोग जो है वो होम स्टे को ज़्यादा पसंद कर रहे हैं और मुझे बहुत अच्छा रिस्पांस मिल रहा है। तो मकसद जो है कि हम अपने गेस्ट को जो है लोकल कुजीन खिलाएं, लोकल जो ये यहाँ ट्रेडिशन है उसका शोकेस करें।
Beyond Bhadarwa, Patni Top is another historic and scenic gem in Jammu. Perched at 2,024 meters, it enjoys cool, pleasant weather year-round. Tourists flock here annually to experience snowfall, lush green hills and serene surroundings, making it a perfect getaway.
here with my friends, and I'm here on Natha Talk, and I would really suggest everyone to please come over here. The guides are so helpful over here. The view is fantastic, and I would urge everyone to at least once come here if you travel to Jammu Kashmir.
हम लोग दिल्ली से जम्मू घूमने आए थे और यहाँ पर बहुत मज़ा आ रहा है. हम फ्रेंड्स के साथ सब आए हैं और यहाँ पे बहुत सारी बर्फ़ गिरी हुई है और व्यू भी बहुत सुंदर है, बहुत सुंदर लग रहा है. आप यहाँ लोग ज़रूर आइए.
Surrounded by deodar forests, Sanasar is a picturesque getaway with blue skies, a tranquil lake and snow-capped peaks. While it receives little snowfall, its cool weather makes it a perfect year-round destination. The man-made lake offers horse riding, boating and shooting.
हम यहाँ सनासर में घूमने आए हुए हैं. यहाँ का वातावरण बहुत अच्छा है. एकदम पानी है, बर्फ़ है, नेचुरल पहाड़ है, नेचुरल पत्ते हैं, ये वो सब कुछ हमारा बहुत अच्छा है. यहाँ किश्तियाँ हैं, यहाँ पे कुछ मतलब बहुत कुछ है यहाँ देखने के लिए. हम फैमिली के साथ सर आए हुए हैं.
इस मौसम में यहाँ पे बहुत अच्छी बर्फ़ पड़ी हुई है और आप सब घूमने के लिए आइए. यहाँ पे देखिए, यहाँ पे कितना अच्छा वेदर है. यहाँ पे इतने अच्छे माउंटेन्स है, पहाड़ है और इतना अच्छा इन्वायरमेंट है यहाँ पे. आप सब, हम तो यहाँ पे 3 दिन से आए हुए हैं. हमारा तो घर जाने का मन ही नहीं करता.
Jammu's tourism potential extends far beyond Patni Top and Bhadrava, with hidden gems like Ranjit Sagar Dam, Bani, Basoli and Arispura waiting to be explored. With improved infrastructure, these offbeat destinations can shine, and the upcoming railway to Kashmir is set to unlock new opportunities, giving the region's tourism a remarkable boost.
From mountains to shores, Jammu's beauty invites you to explore. And with that, we come to the end of this week's episode. See you next week. Till then, goodbye and take care.